What's up, everybody? On today's episode, I have a very close, very good friend. This is my brother. He's not my brother, but he's my brother. He's up from North Carolina, and we did some fishing. He was in town for not the greatest of reasons. We had a memorial service for somebody very close to us, and it was great to see him. But we blocked off a day after all those activities, and we went fishing for a full day. Hit a couple different lakes. And it was just awesome to spend the time, a whole day on the water with him. Fishing wasn't as great as we would have liked it. We did catch some fish, but anytime you go somewhere and you're planning a trip, you're hoping to just knock the scales off them. Like just setting that hook every cast or every other cast, and that was not the case. We found ourselves in kind of a post-spawn funk that's kind of been chasing me around the state, it seems, this year. We saw like a couple bass still on their beds. Most of the beds were void and empty. So they kind of spread out. Some go shallow, some go deep, and so there's no real set summer pattern yet. And we had like every rod out on the deck and a bunch of different lures. But we did catch fish, and it was a great time. And it's always a great time fishing with my buddy. So I introduced you, my very good friend on the Full Scale Outdoors podcast, James Camero.
Oh, here we go, boys.
Go.
Ooh, I love that sound. This is a good one.
T-taw.
Watermelon.
Roy Findon.
Roy Findon, yes. Dancing around the room.
You get to actually use your broadcast.
Yes, my broadcast
Education.
Yes, absolutely.
So this podcast is just going to be stupid silliness because Jimmy and I have our own language.
Try to follow along.
It's just how it is.
Just fit in. Just try to fit in.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's going to be like. Just try to keep up. I'll have to print up a cheat guide or something for what means what. Boat is boat.
Yes.
No
is no. No, we don't.
I don't know how we developed this stupid different language, but it's like, I don't know. It's weird. It's like an inside. It's not an inside joke, but it's just like it's just our language.
It's a
just
language,
like how we communicate and when we're together.
And it's probably been 30 years, I guess. I mean, we were teenagers when we started.
So I'm 46 now. So
maybe not quite.
When did we meet? When did you move to St. Paul?
8th grade. I was summer of 88, maybe 89, 88, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So
I graduated. No, I graduated in 92. So that was 4 years.
91.
That was 4 years before I graduated. So 88. Yeah, summer of 88. I moved here in 8th grade. So that's when we met. 14 years old. Something like that. We didn't probably do DayG till we were
No,
late teens.
Yeah, we
Late
called
teens.
it DayG. First, so dumb. First two letters of my name, and then the first two letters of Jim's name, D-A-J-I.
Yeah,
DayG.
DayG.
It's a new language.
And I think we actually
Makes no
solidified
sense.
it at the Hinckley Grand Casino.
Oh,
That's the other
really?
thing.
Was it?
Yes. We were eating prime rib. We were up there gambling, and they had the prime rib.
Was that when I almost got divorced
Yes,
right after I got
almost.
married
Yes,
because you kept
yes.
winning at blackjack and you would
Yes.
not leave?
I don't know if it was the same trip, but it was very
Because you
early
had money.
there,
Like you were moneyed up, and like we already lost our like $10 or
I had
whatever we
just got
started
paid.
with, and then we
Yeah.
just
And I used my
Dude,
whole
we
check.
like ran out of all our money playing games in the arcade.
Yeah,
and we were
the
like, I'm not
arcade.
going anywhere. I'm
Yeah,
winning. I'm
yeah.
like, "Phew,
yeah,
I just got married. I gotta go.
yeah. She wasn't very happy.
No,
about
she was
that.
not.
Yeah, that was.
We were
rough.
up all night.
all night.
All night.
Yeah, I don't know if that was the same trip, but I distinctly remember they had prime rib on the buffet, and so as That's the other thing is the syllable, the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
I never noticed. Honestly, it wasn't until we just started this podcast where I realized how ridiculous it is. I mean, I've always known, but
Yeah, it's pretty.
now that I know
ridiculous.
people will hear, when it's just you and I, and we're just being silly and stupid, it just comes out,
just
and we don't
normal.
even we don't even blink an
try.
eye at it. We don't pause. We just go right through it. I
No,
know what you're saying, and you know what I'm saying, and
Yeah.
it just goes. But now that I know other people are going to be listening to this, they're going to be like, "What?
You guys are idiots."
What is going to go on?"
When I have my kids and I
Oh,
talk
my
and I talk to you on the phone, they're like, "Oh, Dale, what's going on, Dale?" They're immediate.
Well, my wife knows. My wife knows it's you just when I answer it. Twat, how you doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah,
yeah.
that's you're
Yeah.
the only person on the planet I talk to that I
Yes,
answer the phone with. Twat,
What
are
are
you
you
doing? Are you driving? Are you working? Are you sleeping? Are you pooping?
Usually pooping.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
No, are you fishing? No,
I'm not fishing.
no, I am not. At work. Well, it's gay. Yeah, it's gay.
Yeah. But we were eating
man.
prime rib, and I remember we would just go to eat the prime rib. Like on the buffet, we would not eat anything else but prime rib.
You're gonna go fill up on.
Yeah.
I mean, we're broke kids anyway.
Yeah.
The only time we can afford the casino buffet, and I'm gonna go eat a salad and breadsticks. No.
We were just eating the red
straight
meat.
prime rib.
Yeah.
Just cut it thick. Why?
Yeah, I
Just
kept
save
telling him,
me a
just keep
trip.
cutting it.
cut
Yeah, just
thick, dude.
fill the whole plate up, dude.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What? That's all you're giving me? Fill the plate, dude. I'm not.
Are you slicing sandwich meat? Give me a slab, dude.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
What are
Just
you
fill
doing?
the plate.
This is
Fill the plate.
ridiculous. So this is a long time coming. Finally,
Finally.
man. Jimmy's been like my full scale outdoors south
Mm-hmm.
there in North Carolina, where the bass fishing's a little bit different.
Yes. Yeah, well, it just so happens to be where I'm at in North Carolina. It's not necessarily.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, but it's definitely different. But it's
yeah, the pros stop there. I mean, there's obviously fish to be
Yeah.
caught there, but it
Yeah.
is. And I fished there once
yeah,
with you,
once. Yeah, it was the middle of summer in the middle of the day.
and it is different. I still caught fish
Mhm.
on a
Juan.
Senko. Caught
Juan.
one on a Senko. No, I caught two. Man, I caught one a little.
Oh yeah,
rinky-dink,
that's right.
and
That's
then-
right. Yeah.
And one decent one.
That was with the ugly duck.
That one's
too,
probably
yeah.
3 pounds.
Yeah, no, that
2
was
and
a
half,
good
3
one,
pounds.
yeah.
Pretty good.
Right off of that tree. Yeah, I know exactly where.
That
it
was.
at,
I
yeah.
know the good one I caught was in the riprap right next to the
Yeah,
dam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a down tree on that end.
Oh, you're
on
right.
the other side
Yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah.
cable.
No, you're right.
And
There
you
was
cut
on
it
the
right
other
off
side
of
of the
that tree
cable.
because
Yeah.
that tree has been there forever. But it's not there now because now they're like flooding. It's like ridiculous. Like the water. Yeah, it's national state of emergency and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, that's
But yeah, that's
the biggest difference down there is, and we have a theorem about it. Is there's just no weeds.
no weeds. So I've been in North Carolina 17 years, and I've fished. I had a little old fishing boat. I called it the Ugly Duckling. It had no gel coat. It was just rough like sandpaper. There was nothing there. It had a 70 horse Johnson on it that worked maybe 25% of the time.
Sounds like sometimes.
And but I caught fish out of it. And then
You should have called it the. You should have called it the SS.
yeah,
Because every time you go to use it, something else wouldn't work, and that's all I would hear is like. "Arr!"
so frustrating. Yes, but so I live in the Charlotte area of North Carolina, and it's basically all river systems, and they're all run by power plants. They're all power plants.
The
And
power
so
companies own the
power-
waterways,
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much. Yeah.
And so the particular water system that I'm on is the Catawba River system, and from what I understand, there used to be grass in a lot of these impoundments, but because it was a problem for the power companies because it messed up their generators,
Plug up their intakes and stuff.
they said, "Oh, we're going to introduce grass carps, and then we're gonna kill them off." No, they didn't
Never
disappear.
You
They
can't
yeah.
kill them things off.
They were like, "We're just gonna put these in
Like
there,"
how
and then
hilarious! Like people listening to this, how hilarious is this? Like we're fighting silver carp and Asian carp and grass carp. And I know that we don't have any grass carp in Minnesota, but I know they have them in Iowa. And it's like they're a problem everywhere they're at.
Yeah.
And like they intentionally
yeah,
release them
intentionally
into the
put them in
waterway.
there, yeah, to kill all the grass because it was messing up their power
There's
generation.
no way that would
And
fly
so
in
there's
this state.
no like natural habitat. So they have a ton of money. I call them derbies, tournaments down there, like on any given night, you can go find a tournament on the Catawba River system somewhere. It's kind of 3 different lakes, but they're just impoundments of the same river system. But there's a Thursday night that they call it. It's called on Lake Lookout. It's just probably 7 or 8 mile impoundment. It's a really smaller, but it's a 3 fish total, and it's 3. I mean, it's like per boat. So if you have an angler with you, it's usually two-man teams kind of, and it's the 3 best fish. And from what I understand, years ago, it would take 17 and 18 pounds to win a 3 fish, Thursday night tournament. 7 and 8 pounders were regular. Now you can win it at 9. I mean, you might get 3 threes, or you might catch a 5.
I mean, 3 threes isn't bad.
No. I mean, it's not terrible, but I mean, this is the South.
Yeah.
They're supposed to, they can grow all year long.
I remember when you were moving down, you're all excited, and you're like, I'm going to catch 10-pound bass every day, blah, 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 blah. Have you, 17 years, have you caught your 10-pounder yet?
No, never caught a double digit. No, I think my biggest is probably like 6.5. I didn't have my scale with me when I caught it, but it was, I mean, I've caught plenty of 5s that I've weighed, and it was definitely, it was 6+. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind, and that was probably conservative. It was a good fish, but the good thing about being down there in the South is that, every swing of the water there could be a double digit. I mean, there's the potential is there. There's 7 and 8 pounders for sure. I mean, I've seen one. I probably lost the 7 or 8 on a couple occasions, but I mean, I can't swear to it. But just by looking at them when they hit and they roll and get off and stuff and they jump but yeah, so it's just very, very different.
It's definitely different how you grew up fishing here in Minnesota. I mean, there's weeds
it's ridiculous.
everywhere. And you and I had White Bear Lake, just renting a stupid boat from Tally's for a grip. We should have just bought a boat.
Oh, man,
here.
we spent so much money. I can't even, how did we come up with that money?
I don't know how we came up. We'd pool it, but because 5 of us fitting in one's 14-foot rowboat with a 15 or a 9.9
probably
Merc rental or something. And it's like, they charge by that, like,
by the hour, wasn't it? By the hour?
It was like
$20.
It's like a 2-hour minimum or something. No, it was more than that. It was like $65 an hour. So
what?
Dude, we spent over $100. It was like $150 every time we took that thing out for like a half day.
But
it was so expensive.
But that's how dedicated we were, though. I mean, that's how much we
fish
love
offshore.
Fishing, yeah.
I mean.
And we probably could have done just as good offshore.
I don't think so.
Well, we didn't have much skill.
I
mean, all we did was throw jointed jerk baits. Crankbaits.
The White Bear Killer was a jointed Rapala or a regular Rapala, but in Fire Tiger.
That was it.
That's
Fire Tiger. It had to be Fire Tiger.
That's all the way through.
Our whole huge
White Bear Killer
3x3 tackle boxes were full of Fire Tiger.
That's all we used.
Yeah, that's all we used. Yeah.
It's the only thing we could get bit on.
I don't know how we caught fish.
We caught fish like crazy. Like just and we didn't. I mean, we never used any soft plastics. We never used any jigs. No, it was
we
the
barely
same,
used spinner baits. I mean, maybe
it was the same thing. Like with my, and I've brought this up a bunch of times. It's like my old man. Like all he ever did is troll.
Yeah,
Lindy Little Joe spinners.
Lindy
change the color of the spinner, and then your bait. minnow, leech, or worm.
Leech.
Troll from 8 to 14 feet of water, and that's just what we did.
Yeah.
And the fish were either biting or we didn't.
Yeah.
And we caught fish.
Yeah.
Like I go by, as an adult, I went back to reminisce on those waters that grew up fishing, and I tried doing that. I never got a bite.
Yeah.
Not one bite. And the whole time I'm doing it, I'm like, this is dumb.
Yeah. This is
the whole time I'm doing it, I'm like, how did we ever catch fish doing this? How did we ever catch fish doing this?
Your dad was a fish whisperer.
Something.
Another jumbo for me.
I went up there with the camera when the AquaViews came out.
Oh yeah.
And I put it down there. For one, I was shocked at how well I could see, because this river that we fish up there is just it's black as night coffee is what it looks like.
Yeah.
But it's that bog stained water. But once you're under it, so it's a stained water, and you're looking down at the black bottom, the mud and stuff, and so you just can't see anything. But when you're in the water, you can see forever.
On the Keto?
It was the Pelican River.
Oh, yeah.
Pelican. So, and I was so I just kind of went to the spots that we used to fish, and I just drifted down and was watching the camera. There's nothing. There's nothing down there. There's a twig once in a while, literally a twig. And so the fish that we caught, the big bluegills and the bass and the orange, whatever we caught, they had to break cover from about 20 yards away to come hit our bait.
Unbelievable. I mean,
we caught a lot of fish.
Yeah.
We ate fish
a lot.
Yes.
And
so I just don't understand.
Yeah, we always had fresh fish.
It's just unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Going back to us growing up and fishing on white bear, it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess we just didn't remember the times we didn't catch fish because we would just basically cast the shoreline.
I don't remember
and we would cast
I don't
the
remember
docks,
not catching
and
fish.
we would. Well,
I mean, maybe.
yeah, you just
once or
don't. You just don't
twice.
remember not
You just
catching
don't
fish.
remember?
Yeah, you just.
I
don't,
remember
like,
not catching fish now.
that was a bad.
Because that's every like
relax today.
Yeah, like I'm relaxed today where I
Well,
didn't catch a fish.
What
I
are we
mean,
fishing for an hour?
Yeah, maybe an hour and a half, but I mean, it was like the ocean. I mean, it was kind of
there was
I almost
good.
fell
There
in
was-
probably 3 times. I didn't quite fall in like on the pier at Tally's.
Dude, you defied gravity that day. Literally defied. That was like you were the one. You were.
Yeah,
Neo.
I was Neo. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
You were perpendicular.
I don't
you
even
were
know how I didn't.
perpendicular to the water.
I don't even know how I didn't fall in.
Somehow-
It's like my angel reached down and said, "Shh, "Nope, not yet.
Somehow
You're not dying
didn't fall
today."
in.
I don't know.
But no, I caught 3 walleyes because walleyes are basically sunfish on that lake. They're everywhere.
3 walleyes.
And 1 smallmouth.
Nice, mom. Probably.
Not for that lake. Though.
No, not for that lake. You're right.
It was what,
Maybe
16, 17 inches maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah, somewhere.
2.5.
Yeah, it was 2.5.
maybe 3 pounds.
Touching 3 if I'm
Maybe.
lucky.
But yeah, for that lake, you're right.
Nah,
But-
you wouldn't catch a
Yeah.
3-pounder in that lake.
And I made 3 or
brag
4.
about
And
anybody.
I tried to pull up a ski since after
Yeah, you
your
did
last
throw- yeah,
podcast
you
that I
did.
listened to on the plane, and I
Jim
was
Doyle.
laughing.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was literally smiling and laughing the whole podcast.
Oh yeah, so if people are listening to this one, this is Jim Camero that I referenced in the
That's
podcast
right, yeah.
with Jim Doyle, the president of Twin City Chapter
Twin City
Muskies
Muskie,
Inc. So
That we used to be
We went
members
to-
of.
yeah, we did. We never won jack
25
shit.
years ago.
Ever.
We never won
Didn't want
anything.
a damn
Every
thing.
time we'd walk up to the table, like,
Couldn't
oh,
win a
man, dude,
sticker.
I want that so bad.
I don't think.
Man, I want that
we're
so
just
bad.
we were using the most dilapidated shite.
What were we? We were like maybe.
Remember, I had my
17, 18?
well at that time when we were members of Muskie Inc. That's I think at that time we had bought the ambassador reels. We actually broke down.
Was that
spent
after
like
Canada?
$60 or $70.
No,
No, it was
that was
before
before.
Canada.
Yeah, that's right. We did
'Cause
have
when we
good
first
reels.
started, when I caught
We
my
had
when I
good-
caught my
yeah.
first legal muskie on white
Yeah.
bear, I was using that big
Yeah.
Mitchell saltwater
Yes.
open face
Yes, big
that
black.
my uncle gave me.
Was it big
yeah.
black
yeah.
open face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what you were using.
I don't even know. I want to say that I want to say that I got like a G. Loomis rod somewhere on sale at Joe's.
Maybe.
We bought our
We
stuff
always-
at Joe's.
Yeah, we always went to
Always
Joe's.
went to Joe's,
When it was on
yeah.
Rice, when it
Yeah.
was on Dale Street.
Yeah. But I don't even know what I was using. I don't remember. But yeah, we eventually got the ambassadors, Viva la ambassadors, and then, but still, I mean, I never really caught a huge muskie though. I always caught big pike, but never.
Yeah, you were the pike
huge
king. Although
muskie,
I
yeah.
beat you at that today too.
Yeah, I mean, I just got handed
Oh,
to me.
you just
today,
weren't.
dude.
You just
I was
weren't.
just off my. I want to
you
hold
were,
my mouth right.
Well, you
now.
said.
So okay. So just to clarify, so when I moved to the South about 17 years ago, and I got married and had a bunch of kids, and that kind of went away. But I still have the kids. The kids are still there. But they have weird sayings in the South, but they make kind of sense. But like they say, you're having a bad day fishing or something like that, they'll say, "Oh, you're not holding your mouth right."
Right,
You
yeah.
know, it's like, or
It's
even
just-
like I
it's
build
like,
furniture.
I don't know why it's not working.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like
I used to
'cause you
build
weren't holding your
furniture, and they
mouth
were
right.
like, you're holding your mouth right. You got to hold your mouth right. So, yeah, I just wasn't holding my mouth right today, I guess, because I thoroughly
you
got
kept saying
stomped.
you weren't fishing clean.
I wasn't fishing clean. I missed a lot of fish. Well, I mean, it was so hard to kind of tell because they weren't biting super aggressively, and we were
No.
fishing a lot of junk weeds, and so
So what the
Yeah.
lake we went to today, it's like it's pretty much post spawn. All the bass from post spawn, like that we saw. I think I saw like 2 fish actually on bed still. So
Yeah.
definitely on the back side of the spawn.
Yeah.
And so just in the typical post spawn doldrums.
just
I mean, some go deep, some go shallow. They just kind of spread out, and it's.
And the
I mean,
crazy
I
thing
caught a
is,
good one on it. Well, the best fish I caught today.
yeah,
I don't even know. Was it the biggest fish
3-2.
off the dock? Was that the biggest
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, right behind the
Dude,
guys.
we
Yeah.
literally. I'm like,
Yeah,
there was a boat
3-2
parked on
3-3,
that dock as
3-4,
we kind of
something
worked
like that.
the somewhere in there.
Yeah,
We
just over
kind of
3
worked the
pounds.
shoreline. We got up to it, and this dock is great because there's like reeds on either side of it. And there's other weeds, and then it just drops off and
Yeah.
like boom, super fast, like into 15 feet of water.
But we caught like 4 fish off that. drop off.
Yeah, we did. Right,
But
in
you
the
caught
drop.
that big one, right?
Caught a
off
couple
the dock.
dinks too.
Yeah,
It caught,
yeah.
yeah. And but yeah, I mean, they just left, and we pulled in, and I'm like, well, they're probably. I mean, they were
There's
here.
no point,
I was like, if there's a fish on this dock, they probably caught it already. But I'm like, what? Doesn't hurt.
Jig, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
threw
doesn't
that jig
hurt.
up
It's like,
underneath there.
just threw a jig. A jig in there, tap, boom.
There he was.
There's a good
The
one.
biggest fish of the
Like,
day.
yeah.
Oh, we had two.
Oh.
We each actually had
It's like,
one
oh, were
on.
you just fishing here?
Yeah, exactly. Where'd you guys go? We each had one on probably over 4 pounds today. I mean, I would
Yeah,
say
we both lost a couple
lost
good
a
ones.
really good one.
Yeah.
You know, I lost a lot of fish today actually, but I wouldn't say a lot, but
I
a lot for.
I lost
for
some,
what,
but I didn't lose. I didn't lose too much. I didn't lose many. as
You
did,
fished
but
a lot cleaner than I did for
I
sure
didn't-
today.
I didn't
'cause
lose a lot.
I had
so.
some hooked right to next to the boat, and they just came off.
Yeah.
I had two good ones actually come on, but yeah, that's why it's fishing. I mean, that's the part of it, you know. So
Yeah, for sure. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
that's-
and fishing on the back of the boat. It's
Yeah.
always different. Angles are weird. And,
yeah, it's a little bit different, but it's definitely. I mean, you know, coming up here, it always feels like home. And fishing with Dale and sharing a boat, it just takes us back, 25, 30 years ago when we were just kids and learning the game and all that kind of stuff. But it's definitely a much better environment. Those of you that will listen to this that are from, the upper Midwest or whatever, I mean, you may not have, Red, Joel, he the last time I think we talked, he said, yeah, but you might catch a lot of fish up here, but you don't have the opportunity to catch a double digit, which, down there you do. I mean,
yeah, you had the opportunity, but still don't. I mean,
but it's not like it happens.
No, you're looking at the tournaments they fished out there, and they're not catching.
No,
they're not all bringing 8-pounders and 6-pounders. Like,
well, but,
somebody catches.
Yeah.
They'll have a couple people will get big ones, and they'll have really big kickers and stuff like that. But the majority of the weights that they're bringing in are your 3 to 5 pounders, which are what you're getting here, and we have more 3 to 5 pounders in this state.
Well, but the kickers a lot of times are like the 7 and 8.
Yeah, they're giants. They're beasts.
But and of course where I'm at, the good thing about where I'm at is I'm only a couple hours from Santee. Now that's a different story down there because they got cypress trees.
We need to fish that sometime.
That is amazing. I mean, I limited out on a tournament I fished there one time a couple years ago. I limited it out in an hour, and I had 17 pounds. I mean, just boom like that.
Yeah.
It was nothing.
I watched a couple of videos of that because you were getting ready for a tournament down there, and I remember you were like, watch this video, watch this frog.
Yeah.
That
guy was
I was watching that
way,
dude, he was tearing him up.
Yeah.
It's
that. Now that's a little different story, but to come up here and to fish and like I said, to spend boat time with Dale and the full scale outdoors and all that stuff. I mean, we had plenty of fish, and it's still a whole lot better than what we would do. What I would do down there. I mean,
we fish so
ridiculous.
different.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just not even close because everything where I'm at, like I said, in the Catawba River system is structure oriented, docks, a lay down, and so if you have your own boat, which I had on a different for a while there, and I had a nice one for a little while. You would be okay, but as a team tournament or in the back of the boat, I mean, you get front ended, and it's not even necessarily on purpose. I mean, sometimes it is, but not always. But it's just so.
Out. I mean,
when you're fishing a dock pattern, how can the back guy get it unless you alternate every other dock? I mean, that's the only way that you can do it.
If you're fishing a dock pattern, there's no way for the back guy to not just get front end. I mean, it's just like
it's just the way it is.
It's just.
Now I fish tournaments in the clubs that I've been in, and where the front guy, the man who had the boat, and I'm in the back, he gets his limit. Here, take the front.
Yeah.
And so I go up there, and then I caught my limit, and it was I mean, that's the way it probably should be. But, obviously as a co-angler, you're not going to say, hey, man, you're catching all the fish. Let me have the front.
Yeah,
I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm here just to, you're just kind of to donate, really. But not too many people are going to win any tournaments out of the back of a boat. But it's just a different world down there, at least in that system, because, like I said, there's no natural habitat. The pressure is just unbelievable. I mean, there's so many people that fish there. Bass fish, and it's not like up here where you have all these little lakes and you could go on there and you'd be the only person on a lake, and that's the only lure they see for a week. I
mean, as busy as Mille Lacs has been, of course it was Monday, but there was nobody at the landing. There was like a couple trailers at the landing. Like it wasn't like.
I mean that place is freaking huge.
The waves were angry today, and the lake was angry today. At least the side we went to, we should have just put it on the calm side, but
that was kind of rough.
There's not as many rocks up on that end, on the north end, so
it was fun though. I mean, we had a good time.
We had a great time.
It's always a good time. It's always.
I had fun. I got past some a little bit. It's roughed up, but
I didn't get it.
Well, listen, I crushed you, but neither one of us did well. Because what did I end up with? Like 13 fish for 20-some pounds.
I think you had more.
We did it MLF style.
Yeah.
We weighed all our fish. So anything over a pound counted. No, 16 for 29.9.
Yeah, and I had I don't have a
Think about that.
total.
16 fish for 29.9, and in theory, you could fish Mille Lacs and have 5 for 29.9.
Yeah, in theory, you're right. So I had 9 fish, and I had, let's see, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
Well, I didn't catch quite
12,
twice as much as you did.
13, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 12, or 13, 13 is what I had in weight.
So
9
I didn't quite
for 13,
catch
13.
twice as much as you did, but I have over twice as much weight.
Yeah. Well, because your average is over 2 pounds. You caught a lot of 2 pluses. I have two over 2 pounds, and they were 2, 2, and 2, 1. Everything else was 1, 2, 1, 3. I had a 111 and a 114, but anyways, but yeah, I mean, it was still, I mean, it's still a good time though. Still a blast to always share.
Oh, you got a frogfish today?
I got
so
frogfish. Yeah. so I always carry frogs wherever I go because I love topwater frog fishing, and to that point, I'll fish them all day long. I won a tournament last year on a club tournament, and it was in the middle of the summer, and I just finished watching what's his name? We were talking Jacob Wheeler. And I was watching the MLF, and he was fishing in top water, and he was talking about the point about making them bite. And he was throwing like a huge topwater plug. And it was because he was like, you got to force them to eat. And so it's the middle of the summer, and the water temperature was like 80 couple degrees, and we all had our shirts off. You know, it was just like super hot. We had like swimming trunks on. I mean, you know, everybody's just like dying hot. And I threw topwater all day long, and I won the tournament by, I don't know how many pounds I won it by. I was the only one that had a 5-fish limit because it was so tough. It was so hot. It was probably, I bought the boat in August, so it was probably August when I did. I mean, it was like ridiculous. Water temperature was like 85 or 88 degrees or something stupid. But, you know, if you have, what it comes back to, and we talked about this today, Dale and I talked about this quite a bit today. We talked about color and different things, the variations. But I think a big part of it is, and we discussed this, that the presentation. And so I have a huge confidence in fishing the top water, whether it be a frog or a popper or something like that. Mostly a frog. You know, if I see a lay down or some weeds or something like that, where most people think, oh, I want to go punch that with a jig, or I want to go throw this around this tree. I want to throw a frog. But I'll fish it all day long, and I'll catch fish on it. You know, I watch Dean Rojas, you know, or Ish Monroe, and they'll do the same thing. And sometimes, yeah, you might not, you know, they might come in last in a tournament. But when they are on, they blow them away because you always have the potential to catch a big fish, though. So, yeah, so I bring frogs with me every time I travel up here when I fly, and TSA looks at them through me. So I would bring a box of frogs. And I threw a frog today that I haven't caught a fish on, and so now I can say that I did. It's got like a hard plastic cupped mouth and stuff like that. So I have probably 30 frogs or something, I think. I have like 2 boxes.
Yeah, I have some, but I don't have near that many.
I love them. And if any of my friends from back home listen to this, they're going to be like, yeah, Jim loves a frog. Like, if they ever catch a fish on a frog, they're always like, oh, Jim would love this, you know. So
a lot of people do. And I mean, I used to do well on top waters, like with, you know, pop-Rs and spooks and stuff like that. Man, I'm on a bad run of top water.
We fished a lot of spooks growing up. I remember that too. Like,
but
walk the dog.
I used to just like, I mean, I would throw it in waves. I mean, I was kind of like you with the frogs. I mean, like, I do well with it. People are looking, why are you throwing? I'm like, I don't know, because I catch them. And then sure enough, even though it's wavy or whatever, I'd catch them on top water. But I haven't had a good top water bite in probably 4 years.
Today was really rough, and I threw it. I threw it quite a bit today. I mean, I kind of stuck with
amount,
it. I threw it a pretty good amount, and I only had the one. I mean, we only fished that one.
He was
really
in like no water.
Area. Yeah, he was in no water. And I had 2 blow-ups in 50 yards. Yeah. And I missed a good one, and then I caught that one little tiny 1-pounder. But anyways, yeah, it was – you have to believe in it, though. That's kind of the thing.
Well, it's confidence. You know, I lost I've been – all season long this year I've been using the Magic Craw color swim jig from Outcast. And it's just like – I don't know. I've just been killing them on that with the paddle tail on the back. And – I lost my last one today when we were out there. I'm like, so then I'm like, well, let's just try something else. And I grabbed one of the jigs that I made this winter, and it was like basically Fire Tiger color, and I put a Rage Tail Craw on it and threw that around. And just the whole time was just a wrestling match with my mind. Like, I had no confidence in that bait at all. I'm like, but as I'm watching it swim through the water, I'm like, there's a ton of action. I don't know why they wouldn't eat that.
Exactly.
And then it just kept. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep going with it. And I wasn't getting bit, and I wasn't getting bit, and I probably didn't even stick with it that long. But I finally just like, you know what? There's
Maybe
too much
30
going on in
minutes.
my mind.
Probably gave it 30
There's
minutes.
just too much going on in my mind, and I just don't have confidence in this right now. And I
Well, you
went
weren't
back to the
working
box,
it right,
and then I managed to find another swim jig that definitely was not the same, but it looked more bait fish-ish.
Yeah.
And so I went with that, and then I started.
Well, then you started
then I
catching
started
again.
catching fish again.
Super
so.
bright though. It was white though.
Yeah, it
and
was
the other one you
white
had
and
was like
gray
a
and yellow.
silverish.
Yeah, it was
white
blue.
kinda,
There's blues
bluish.
and browns and greens in it. It looks like a bluegill basically.
Yeah.
I mean, they call it magic craw, but it should be like magic bluegill.
Yeah,
That's what it
exactly.
looks like. I mean, so now
But the main thing is
now
though
I
is
gotta
just
go
that
stock-
confidence.
Shark's got to keep tying those up for me because he's the one that
You got to get some more.
he makes them. Yeah. So
yeah.
like I need to buy some more. So keep them coming,
It's
Shark.
hard to beat a good swim jig for sure, but you
And
just
I
got
never
to
really,
fish.
I never really
strength.
fished them much until
No.
this
This
year,
year.
really. And man, for me,
That's
just-
funny how you kind of
just
go
been
through
on fire.
spurts of
Yeah.
different kind of lures where
Yeah.
you get that confidence in it. You know, I didn't know about Senkos until, you know, a number of years ago when Dale kind of turned me on to them, and I started fishing them down there in Carolina. And I, like the first year that I started them, I was catching fish left and right. I was losing a lot of fish because I was using like a 3-aught hook.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm thinking, well, how big are you? And he's like, no, you got to use a 5. But anyway, or 4 or 5 at least. But then you get a great confidence. Now the last year or so, I haven't fished that much of it because I just don't. I don't have a ton of confidence anymore for whatever reason.
Well,
You
I
know,
think you
just
like to
kinda go
fish
through the
faster,
spurts.
and
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Sinkles are not a fast
Yeah,
presentation,
no.
and they're a target presentation.
Yeah.
So unless you're throwing,
Well,
at
but see,
docks,
that's the thing
if
is
you're
that
throwing at
where I'm
stumps,
at, you
you're
know,
not.
it's such a
why-
target-rich
you're not gonna-
environment.
You're
yeah.
not just gonna like fan cast a Senko. I mean, you could, but
Yeah.
I would have a hard time sticking with that.
Yeah,
Like,
no, you
that's-
gotta. It's definitely a target. You know, you have to put it somewhere where you're like, yeah, there should be a fish there.
Yeah,
or
we
whatever,
definitely
you know.
caught some on docks today. There was, I mean,
Every
it was-
dock.
It was worth throwing. Yeah, there's some little ones.
I
and then
mean-
every now and then, like every fifth dock would hold a decent one.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
There's just not that many docks on that lake.
No, there really wasn't that many, and it's crazy how shallow those docks are too. Then we had issues with the trolling motor today.
Yeah.
I still don't know really what happened with that because when we brought it back, it's a 24-volt system. That's why I brought it back just a few hours ago, and I backed it in the shed and turned it on. I checked it. My battery charger says the one is at 95%, and then the other battery's at 45. Shouldn't they drain equally?
Yeah.
If anybody's listening to this and you know boats
Yeah.
and 20, dude, send me a message,
Yeah, let us
Facebook,
know
Full Scale
what's up,
Outdoors. Get a hold of me. Let me know. Like what's going? Is my boat not hooked up right? I mean, I haven't changed a thing. It's how it is when I bought it.
Yeah.
And today it's like we were doing it like it was, and then it just died. And it was just we had nothing. We had power and then we had nothing because
Yeah.
we used it to go into that dock,
Yeah.
and then we could hardly get out.
Yeah.
Like it just was like.
Yeah. Just
Done.
quit.
I mean, it had 45 on that battery. It had.
Yeah. And the other one, I mean,
And the
it
other
should have
one
started
was
draining
damn
from
near
the other
full.
one. It should have started draining from the other one.
That's what
right?
it doesn't matter.
I mean, it should.
drain from both equally.
From both.
I think if it's a 20, you have them wired for a 24-volt system.
Yeah. Yeah, that one.
I need to figure that out.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah, because you don't. Yeah, you don't want to get in a tournament and not have a trolling motor.
dude, I can't. I
That
mean,
was rough. I mean, you'd be done. You might as well
Dude.
put it on the truck.
well, and that's when we spent longer at that lake because of the trolling motor. It's like,
Yeah,
well, we can
absolutely,
drift
yeah.
over these weed flats and just cast the
Keep
swim
catching
jigs around,
fish,
which has
yeah.
been working. So it's like, well, we can just do that and cover water.
Yeah.
And it worked out. And then so we didn't get to fish Mille Lacs until much later in the day, and we
Like
knew we only had
yeah.
an hour and a half,
And
2
we
hours
could,
tops,
and no control.
and
Just-
no boat control.
yeah.
So, but we did find a rocky point that we were able to drift over decent and caught.
Yeah.
We did catch some fish,
couple of fish.
but
yeah.
yeah, I mean we didn't give it that much time, but I don't know. We'll have to do that again for sure. Really would like to get in some of them just toad
Yeah, just go find those
6
5 and
pounders,
6
like,
pounders. Yeah.
get
Yeah, that's
that.
the one thing you won't get down in the south is them big 5 and 6 pound smallmouths for sure. I mean,
They do
That's
have
all
them in some of the
large.
lakes down there.
no,
don't they?
there's quite a few actually in some of the river systems that are up toward in the mountains. They have some really big smallmouth, but I mean you don't catch them in the number. I mean, obviously, like
That was where I caught my
Mille
first spot. So that little one I caught, that little fish I caught, my first one was a spot, a little
Yeah.
tiny spot.
Lacs. That's what kind of runs That's like the majority of what you'll find down there is the spots, and they just don't get that big. They fight. They're a lot of fun to catch, but you just don't get the number or the weight size just because they just don't get that big. But
yeah, they don't get as big as largemouth.
They just don't.
They're
Yeah,
a smaller
period.
fish.
Yeah. But they're fun to catch because they fight a lot better.
They school up. You can catch a bunch of them quick if you're in the right spot.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you can get a school fired up and stuff like that. There's been some mornings where, I mean, don't get me wrong. Living in North Carolina, I've caught a lot of fish. And there's been a couple mornings where I've gone out early in the morning and catch 8 or 10, just boom. I mean, just like that because they're schooled up and you just happen to be in the right place at the right time. But yeah, it's just a different animal and a different world. And I'm sure out probably in California in the deltas, it's way different too because it's perfectly clear water and huge swim baits. Like
they use
12-inch
trout,
swim baits. Yeah,
trout
I mean, they're
swim baits,
ridiculous.
Castaic
Inline ones and $200 swim baits and stuff like that. Like, dude, are you kidding me?
I know there's no pike in that water.
Yeah, exactly.
How about
There's
that?
nothing with any teeth
How about
in
that?
it. Exactly. You're not going to spend that kind of money on that kind of a jig and have a pike tear it in half.
Ain't no way.
Yeah, no way. I don't care.
Way you're throwing a $200 lure
and that's
anywhere within the bounds of Minnesota.
No.
Because
it's
if
you
only
do,
a
you
matter
just
of
throw
time
money.
before you lose it.
Just throw the money in.
Just burn it. Just take a lighter out, set it on fire.
Yeah. Just take $100 bills and just light
at the
them
grocery
up.
store.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Eat schmelz.
You're gonna lose it.
You're
gonna lose it.
Yeah.
You're
gonna lose it to a pike. Yeah. There's no doubt.
You're losing it, or a muskie, or whatever. You're gonna.
Which
lose
is weird that you outfished me with the pike today. That's something.
That is super weird.
I'm
Might
really
be the first time ever.
Ever.
Jimmy, we've always got. He's like the pike king.
Yeah.
Like.
It doesn't matter. Everybody else is catching.
If there was one pike in a lake that somebody put in there, he'd catch it.
I'm gonna catch it.
It's just,
but I've caught some big ones though.
Not
I mean,
today.
I've caught some big fish, some big pike. I really have.
That time we went to Canada at Naughty Pines Fish Camp, which how weird was that?
That was ridiculous. I mean, I'm on the plane listening to Jim Doyle, the president of Muskies Inc. here, and then he starts talking about Naughty Pines Fish Camp in Canada, and of course, and I'm just dying laughing. All the stewardess and people around me are like, what is wrong with this dude? It was just, I
couldn't believe it. He's like, did you win a trip? I'm like, of course I won a trip. That's the only way people get to that stupid resort.
And we took oh my goodness, what did you have? A little Chevy Citation or something? No, what was that car that we drove up there?
God, what did I have at the
It was
time?
a little blue car, 2-door, and we could not fit a thing in that car. I mean, we took a trunk and 2 suitcases each because we didn't know it's gonna be cold, it's gonna be hot.
We brought long underwear.
We brought every piece of clothing that we had, every rod, every piece
July.
of.
It was 90 degrees when we were up there. We had brought long underwear.
Yeah.
We're like, it's Canada. It could be cold.
It's Canada. We don't know. Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, man, you don't get up there and be freezing up there. So we took snowmobile suits.
No, we did not.
And
God, we did.
I mean, we had more
underwear though, just in case.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, it's not gonna.
We
be
had
30
so
degrees.
much clothes, and I mean, we could not fit. We could barely fit in the car. I remember that.
Remember, the last thing we had in there was my big landing net, and I put it on top of everything.
Yeah.
And it sat between the pile of shit and the roof.
Oh my goodness!
That's all the room that was left was enough for a landing net.
Yeah, yeah, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
What was that? Was that like a Sunfire or
something
like that?
Right. Yeah, it was something off. A Buick. Was it a Buick or a Pontiac or something?
Yeah,
it was a little blue car,
like that,
2-door, I think, and we drove all the way to Canada. And then, of course, there was the fear of me not even being able to get through. So a little bit of back history. I've been a problem child most of my life. But
not really. You just screwed up once.
At the ripe age of 19, I really kind of messed up pretty bad. And so I ended up finding myself incarcerated for about 3 years. So a good portion, my formidable years in my early 20s, I was locked up. So, and Canada was after that. But at that time, I couldn't cross into the border out legally into Canada because I was a convicted felon. I tried at one point right after I got out, and I got turned away, and I thought, oh, here, I'm going to go back. They're going to give me a parole violation or something stupid like that. So here we are at this point, and I've already made up my mind. I'm just going to lie. If they ask me, are you a felon? I'm going to be like, no, I'm not a felon, because I said, we're going fishing. Yeah. We won this trip. We're going to take advantage of this trip.
I won this trip. I won the trip, but it's minimum 2 occupancy. So, but if we split it,
it was still like $1,000 a piece.
It was dumb, dude. It was so dumb.
I think it was like $1,000.
We could have went to any resort up there for the same exact amount of money. It's such a scam. But anyway. So we planned like eight extra hours or 10 extra hours because we're like, we're gonna get there. And if we get turned away at that border crossing, either we have enough time to drive to another border crossing, or we can just wait for a shift change and try it again.
We had it all figured out. And then we were like videotaping the whole thing. We did like what was that Blair Witch Project? But it was like the Blair Fishing Project or something.
Yeah,
like
we recorded the whole thing.
Yeah, and we got to the border crossing, and the girl's like, "Oh, excuse me, sir, you're gonna have to turn that off." And I'm like, yeah. And then then she asked us where you're going. We're going fishing, and we're all excited. And we're trying to flirt with her and stuff like that.
Just drew my recorder.
We're trying to like flirt with her to try to get through and stuff like that. And she was just like,
yeah, she was.
I'm Canadian. You're American. I don't like you. I'm communist. You're not, and I don't like you.
So there's Jimmy, Mexican, legally crossing the border.
Illegally
like
crossing the border.
Exactly.
This was before they had any talk of walls or anything. Yeah, and so, but I mean, it was amazing. Though. I mean, it really was because we saw eagles, and,
we caught a ton of fish,
moose,
dude.
and bear, and
our hookup percentage was terrible that first day.
Of course, we went to Joe's. I think we went to Joe's and bought a ton of stuff before.
A ton of buzz baits.
Yeah, a buzz baits. Like just the cheap $1 buzz baits.
The ones that like hang off the rack. They have right there. We bought a bunch of those. And, man, we were just getting smashed. We were like blow up after blow up after blow up. We could not set the hook out of these things. And then I don't know if I was cleaning weeds off mine or something, but I'm like,
what's this?
I think I know why I missed these fish.
Look at yours.
So they had these little on the tips of the hooks. They had these little like plastic rubber
guards.
Sleeves.
Yeah, sleeve over the barb. Yeah,
poke somebody in the store or whatever, and we didn't notice those, and we never took them off. So like we were getting smacked.
Oh, we were just getting blow. I mean, like
dude,
one
we
pike
so
after
many
another.
blow-ups.
And then when we took them off, then they stopped biting. Nothing. It was like it changed the action or something.
Yeah, it was dumb. We were just lighting them up.
We had a lot of pike that week, and actually they were really good.
You caught good ones. I didn't.
No, we ate the pike.
Oh, we ate the pike.
And it tasted fine. It tasted really good up there.
Pike tastes good. There's nothing wrong with pike.
What else did we caught just a few walleye or sauger.
I think we caught one sauger. Ass to clean. That's the stuff.
Yeah,
we caught a couple smallmouth bass. Remember that one bass I caught? I was using topwater, and I'd pop it and he'd chase it, but he wouldn't hit it. I literally had to just like
let it sit there forever,
not move it, and he just sat underneath it, staring at it for like 5 minutes, and then finally just went up to it and slurp, and I set the hook and caught him. He was like a 14-inch.
Yeah, and not like when he says for 5 minutes, and people like, oh yeah, it was probably like a minute. No, it was like
I'm not moving it.
Probably maybe 4.
Swims away. I'm not moving it.
It was,
and he never swam away. He just kept staring at it.
Just staring at it. Yeah, and the water was so clear though. I mean, you could see what he was doing. It was just ridiculous.
Gin clear.
Yeah, it was amazing. The most fun we probably had was when we were at Echo. Like we would like yell, like the last day we were at that spot, and we were like, Echo, and you would just. That was pretty. Well, the beaver was pretty fun too. Actually, it wasn't that fun.
That was crazy, dude.
That was crazy.
So I snagged this beaver in the back, and I'm like,
this beaver's like floating, going along back and forth along the bank. Dan's like, I'm gonna catch it. I'm like, what? What do you mean you're gonna catch it? So we're throwing bucktails, trying to catch huge pike or muskies or whatever, and he catches this thing between the body and the tail, and.
Right on its back, dude.
30 minutes later. I mean, it was literally 30 minutes at least.
Huge run.
Maybe more. I mean, it was pulling these little boats. The resort boat was like, what, 14-foot Lund or something? 16-foot aluminum boat. Had like a 20-horse or 15-horse like Johnson on it or something. And so, but it was literally pulling us across the lake. And then it would dive, and you're like, oh, I'm getting on it. And then it would come up 200 yards away. I mean, it was like the end of your line.
It was starting to come up like, oh, he's starting to. I could see my line going in the water. I'm like, oh, he's coming up, and then like the line would be like way wrapped around a bunch of weeds. So he actually would surface like 80 yards, dog-legged way off to the right. I'm like, oh, he's way over there. I'm like, fire up the motor. If I do it, I'm going to fire up the motor. He's way over there. We finally get him up to the boat. And then we had all this is on video. And then it's like, we got to find that and somehow get it downloaded so we can like share that video because it's hilarious.
I think I have the VHS still somewhere. My ex-wife might have it.
Yeah, we'd have to put it like,
I'm going to have to find it and figure out how to get it on a
DVD. And then I could download it to a computer or something. But anyways, so we
out.
get up to the computer, get up to the boat, and it's tired, and the hook's right there in its back.
That's huge
and
too. It's
you're like, now what?
Long
now what? Oh, it was a big beaver.
Yeah,
it was a blanket beaver for sure.
Massive.
Yeah, it was big. It was
massive.
40-pound beaver.
Yeah, at least.
It was 40-pounder.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, you're gonna shut that camera off, and I'm gonna deal with it. So I grab my
big old Bowie Rambo knife.
No, it was just a fillet knife, but then, like, as I was kind of getting ready to do that, the hook just came out.
Just came out.
Popped out.
Big old bucktail.
Beaver ran away. With a little
yeah,
sore in his back,
away.
and then
that was an adventure for sure.
All was good. But
yeah.
We only saw one muskie that trip. I think we had one big fall.
Oh, I had a monster muskie. I used to throw this. We called it the prop, and Dale
wasn't it the Booker tail, wasn't it?
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah. Boocher, something like
Booker
that.
tail.
Yeah.
Joe Booker.
Silver and black with a huge silver. That blade was as big as the palm of my hand.
Giant.
I kid you not.
Collar,
it was
fluted,
a huge
like a
Colorado blade. Yeah.
Giant.
I mean, it was probably 3x4. I mean, it was just
huge.
Massive.
It's huge.
Yeah, it was like we called it the prop because like I would, and I threw that thing all day long, and by the end, my hand, like I couldn't even like squeeze the rod. I quit fishing.
You did.
And Dale's like, "What if I caught a muskie? Would that get you back fishing?" I'm like, "No, I cannot physically do it anymore." And I'm like in my 20s. I mean, I just got out of prison. I've been working out like crazy. I mean, I was in the best shape of my life, and I was so tired.
We grinded
from throwing
that week.
Thing.
We got up at the butt crack of dawn.
That was ridiculous.
And we fished till we couldn't see.
Dark to dark.
And then, but by Thursday, it was hard to get up.
14 and 15-hour days.
It was
easily.
hard to get up.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, it was pretty tough.
Well, it was still light at like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, we were fishing till 9, 10 o'clock every night. Yeah.
Up at 4:30.
Yeah.
Fishing till 10 at night.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But
I had this huge.
Super grind.
Actually, you know what? I did not get that follow on that one. It was a huge spinnerbait. It actually was like a joint, like a V spinnerbait.
Oh,
and
like
it
a
was,
bass style spinnerbait.
Yeah, and it was
giant.
like a orange and red or something like that. I forget. And it was massive. Like 6 or 8 inches long on both bars, and it had 2 huge blades. And I kid you not. Now, granted, I've never caught a huge muskie. Probably like a 40-inch or 30-something probably is all I've ever caught. But I've caught huge pike. I've caught 36 or 38-inch pike before. But I bet it was 60 inches. I mean, it was massive.
Yeah, that's huge.
It was as long. It was halfway along the boat, and I saw it come flying up, and I dropped the thing because you always do a figure 8 when you're But I used to do what I always called was like the Jimmy drop kind of, and I would just pause it when I would see it out about 8 or 10 feet, and I would drop it down about a foot, and then I would jerk it up really fast, and a lot of times I would solicit a strike.
Yeah.
And so when I did that, also, whew, here she came and nipped at it, and I just barely felt it. Went to set the hook, and it wasn't there, and so I dropped it back down again, and it just sat there. And all you muskie guys that listen to this, if they do, it just kind of just drifted away like, just laughing at you. Just laughing at you like, you were that close. I almost bit, but I didn't, and now I'm going to leave. And it just stopped my heart.
You remember our very realistic expectations when we were going up there? We're like, dude, we're going to catch so many big fish.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think our biggest walleye is going to be? And we're like, 30 pounds. Sure.
We're like, it's Canada.
What do you think smallest is going to be? 8 pounds?
Yeah.
Probably 7.5, maybe 8. Probably 8.
It's probably 8.
And then northern, 40 pounds for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Muskie,
20 pounds.
60, 65.
It's Canada. I mean, it's Canada. Of course we're going to catch this trophy. Every fish is going to be a trophy fish. Every fish.
And we were serious.
Yeah.
Just completely unrealistic expectations.
Yeah. It was.
That was Shangri-La. We were just
20,
going to
maybe 23, 24 years old.
Yeah, we
like
thought
that.
we were just going to smash them.
Yeah.
We did catch a lot of fish, but it wasn't.
We caught a lot of fish. And we ate fish. We ate fish
yeah.
every night.
Yeah, northerns.
Yeah.
Like I said, we only really fished for walleyes
One time.
One time we caught a couple, and then that was that.
That was it.
And I'm like, eh.
But who wants to do that?
I know, it's boring.
I mean, who wants to do that? Even today, when you caught the one, I'm like, you caught those two, and I was like, why? How do people get excited about that? You just, oh, there's a fish. Oh, I just reel it in. Okay, there it is. Oh, it's a walleye.
They're like 17 inches.
There's a little wall tear.
Would have been great eaters if you could keep any out of that lake. But
so stepping.
yeah, I mean, I really think they should just do a one fish limit, and then no real size limit on it. Or
well, I think that
maybe only 1 over 28 or 1 over 26. Just to keep the big ones around, but
yeah.
That way, I mean, when you do a slot, like especially when it's pretty restrictive, like 21 to 23, then that's the only that size class.
Why don't they just say
out.
you can keep a 22? It's 21 to 23.
Yeah. Well,
just keep a 22.
Because it gives you 3
I guess
inches.
it gives you 3
Yeah.
inches. Yeah.
They should
Most
just.
people
I mean,
use
it
that.
needs to be like keep any. You can keep
one
of anything in.
One.
Or I think it was Doug Glimmerbean from the SmackDown Outdoors podcast was saying like, how about you have a cumulative inches? Like you can keep whatever it is. 30 inches of fish. So you can keep 2 15 inchers or 1 30 incher.
Yeah.
Or or whatever, or make it 40
Yeah,
inches. You
yeah.
can keep 2 20 inchers.
Yeah.
You know.
40 probably.
So I mean, it's like you if you want to keep a trophy, then that's probably the only fish you're going to catch because then
or
if you catch,
like if you catch one
catch
fish
a
40
30,
or
you're not
above,
going to keep a 10.
Yeah, no, you're not gonna keep
So
it.
you're done.
You're done.
Once you catch a big one, you're done.
Well, the thing of it is that I think that and you've touched on it on many of your podcasts before, is that the people that are actually doing this fishing, they should be the ones that decide. No legislator should be able to come in and say, "This is what we need to do." I mean, they have no idea. They have no idea what's going on. They, it's kind of like riding motorcycles, which I do. And in North Carolina, we have a helmet law, and there's a huge push, and it's been there ever since I've been there. Is let those who ride decide. Let those that are actually doing it. Let us decide. Minnesota doesn't have a helmet law. That's fantastic.
Which is crazy because we're like one of the most restrictive states on just about everything.
I know. It's so.
And then,
I mean,
it's one of the few states you don't have a helmet.
Yeah,
law
exactly.
But
there's
we also have a very good motorcycle lobby.
There's a lot of a lot of motorcycles. States that don't have helmets. Denver doesn't have one. Iowa doesn't have one. South Carolina doesn't have one. North Carolina does. But it's all legislature stuff. It's all government. And I'm like, you don't even ride a motorcycle. You don't even like motorcycles. So why are you going to tell me what I can do? It should be the same thing with the sportsmen. And I think a lot of it is, in my opinion, is that we don't get our voice out because we don't do enough. We don't go out and make it a point. Yeah, exactly.
We're not camped out on the steps of the Capitol.
We don't care about other people. We want to just go and do what we like to do.
Yeah.
Fishing and hunt. And so, people that are making these decisions, they're just like, oh, well, I just want to do this. You don't have any idea.
All the big names, like not all the big, but a bunch of big names here in Minnesota, they just kind of got together and now it's like they are going to have a voice in the Capitol now. Like they form some sort of committee or something. It's like Al Linder and I can't think of all the other names right now. Ron Shera and it's all these all the Minnesota
Old
staples.
School,
You guys have been around for forever.
All the OGs.
And, they're all on it, and so they're gonna make sure that anglers have a voice.
Well, good.
Capitol,
maybe maybe they can get some of this nonsense slot limit and all this kind of stuff changed because it's just kind of ridiculous. But
yeah, it is. It's dumb. I mean, I get what they're trying to do, but it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't make scientific sense.
No, it doesn't. And you've been over that over and over and over again. But it's just so
silly.
Yeah, it's just silly. So.
Same thing with and we touched on this today too when we were driving around. It's like the one hen mallard limit.
Yeah.
When it comes to duck hunting, how dumb is that?
Yeah.
It's just so dumb.
Yeah, it's ridiculous when everybody else is killing them all over the place.
It's the most populated duck on the planet.
Yeah.
On the planet.
You can't kill it.
The least,
you could never wipe them
least
out.
of least concerns of any species of
ever
waterfall
exist.
literally on the planet.
Yeah.
And you're restricting.
When everybody else can shoot.
What,
twice.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So, but why don't you should have a hen canvasback limit? I mean, that's the only you can keep or you can shoot one canvasback usually or none some years. And now you can actually tell a hen and a drake apart from each other.
Yeah.
But the one duck that's the most populated, that sometimes you can, early in the season, you can mistake a drake for a hen. All you're doing is giving people tickets.
Yeah.
Like, right? It's a stupid law, and it needs to change.
That's how they can make money.
It needs to change. It's dumb. You go to Canada,
Yeah.
shoot 8 birds, and there's no hen limit. You can shoot 8 hen mallards in Canada.
Yeah.
populate, and you go ahead, do it. Cause
But Minnesota's worried about the population.
Come on,
dude.
dude. It's just so dumb.
I mean, they're getting killed all around you in all the states around you.
Yeah,
But here you just can't because
well,
we're worried about the hens. Sure,
yeah, but some states. I mean, North Dakota has a hen limit. Most states have a hen limit, but it's just on mallards. It doesn't make any sense. How many hen Canada geese do you shoot?
Yeah.
You don't know because you can't tell the difference.
You can't tell the difference.
And how many canned geese do we have around? All of them.
Millions.
It's just
Zillions.
they're a problem.
Tens of millions.
So
hundreds of millions, probably.
The hen limit is.
And they're
just
never
so
in Canada. Why do they call them Canadian geese? They're never.
They're
in
not
Canada.
Canadian geese. They're Canada geese. That's but that's people get that wrong all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, Canadian.
Yeah.
They're not Canadian. They're not from Canada.
Yeah.
They're not Canadian. They're Canada geese.
Yeah.
It's like having a, I don't know what would be the equivalent. Some other animal that's named after a region. That's what it is. It's named after a region. It's the Canada species of goose.
Well, but no, like a Kodiak bear is different, though. That's from Kodiak Island,
but
right?
They're not. No, Kodiak bear is a grizzly.
Yeah.
It's a coastal brown bear.
But aren't the Kodiaks supposed to be like super huge?
Well, they're bigger
Yeah.
just because of their diet. They're rich on those salmon. So you get all your coastal grizzlies or brown bears. Well, actually, technically, they're all brown bears.
Yeah.
So a grizzly is a brown bear. A grizzly is almost like a slang term for a brown bear. A grizzly is like an inland brown bear.
I got you.
And so they're only called Kodiak brown bears because they're on the island Kodiak, obviously. And they're legendary for being giants because they're just eating salmon and getting huge.
Gorging.
But they're all brown bears, like
Yeah.
all of them. But so the interior brown bears are the grizzlies, and they're much smaller because they're eating deer and elk and bugs and whatever they can find and blueberries and they're not eating a
salmon,
a fat protein rich diet of salmon.
Yeah,
I mean
exactly.
they're
just gorging.
but they're they're technically the same species, but it's something like that. It's just that it's the Canada goose is just that's the technical name for it. They're not Canadian. They're not from Canada. Some of them are, but not all of them. I mean, we have resident Canada geese right here in the cities. They live right in the cities, and they never leave. It's 40 below zero.
Yeah.
In the middle of winter.
They're still there. Yeah.
They're right there.
Yeah.
And they're never. And mallards, too. We have some resident mallards that never leave, too. As long as they have open water, they'll stick around, and they can find feed. So if we don't get too much snow, that's about the only thing that'll push them south. And they'll only go as far south as they need to.
Yeah, just to find the open water.
So as they get open water and food, hit the brakes. This is where we're stopping. They don't fly all the way to Arkansas like a lot of them. But then some do. Some mallards pack up and they head all the way to Louisiana.
They're going,
That's just what they do. They kind of spread out all over the place. But I don't know. I wish you would have done better today, but it's just like I said, that post-spawn just is what it is. I mean, what are you gonna do? They weren't anywhere in any.
No, it was really hard to
numbers.
figure out kind of what they were doing. They were just kind of
Well,
random.
I think we figured we put together like the best pattern, and it was those reeds
with
that
the
had
cabbage.
mixed, cabbage,
Yeah.
and some other weed, the mixed reeds, and I mean we did catch a couple roamers and sparse reeds, but that wasn't. I mean that was like more exception to the rule. And then they were chewing those swim baits. That was the most. That was the best bait that we.
Well, we didn't really throw. Well, it was kind of hard to throw anything else.
Yeah.
Because of the weeds that we were fishing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just really kind of a tough deal. But
I did catch a couple on that ledge, on that deep drop off on a regular jig down at the bottom. I caught a couple doing that. Didn't catch any on the drop shot.
which was weird.
Yeah, in that same spot because I switched to the drop shot after I caught two little ones on the jig.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, let's go to a. Because we were doing the MLF kind of trackers, so I was like, well, let's if I can
a bunch of pounders
bang out
right
10,
here,
15 pounders right here, I'll jack my score way up. And then I didn't even get a sunfish bite in that stupid drop shot.
Yeah, it was pretty
Didn't
tough.
make any sense.
It was probably one of the tougher days I remember here. I mean, just because, like you said, but it's post-spawn. And,
you can make all the excuses you want, but they weren't anywhere in numbers.
Yeah.
They weren't concentrated anywhere.
No.
So
Yeah.
they
definitely
wait for those summer patterns to set up, and it'll get better. But just is what it is.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't know. I was hoping to get you much, but it's kind of your trip up here. The 1-day trip was kind of like when I went to the Keys. We have all these lofty plans, and then you just don't. There's just not enough time to do all of it.
Well,
I mean,
it's really today's fishing was really kind of an after. It was like, well, as long as I'm there, let's kind of do it. Unfortunately, we lost a friend of ours, a dear friend of ours growing up, lost his mother a couple weeks ago. And so I came up for that. And so, obviously, anytime I come up to this region, I always try to spend some time with you and go fishing and all that kind of stuff. So it was really, it was a bonus, I guess. Let's call it like that, because,
Sure.
the main purpose was to come up and visit and see family and spend time with our friends that, and through the grieving process and whatnot, and that was really good. But yesterday, but then today was just, I'll just stay an extra day and let's do some fishing. So it's always just good to get out and just a
and see weeds.
And see weeds, because there's no weeds in Carolina, at least on the waters that I fish.
That's what you're saying.
I'm always like, I love
it's just
these
gonna be
weeds.
good to see weeds.
Yeah,
You
I
take
don't.
it for granted.
I
It's
never
my theory.
complain about taking weeds off my lures when I come up here.
No, it's my theory that the reason that the fishing's tougher in North Carolina, at least on the waters that you fish where there's no weeds, is pressure's one thing, but I just don't think there's as many fish in the watershed because they don't have the weeds. They don't have there's no place for the fry to grow up. There's no place for them to be protected. Yeah, I think they just get chowed by birds and other fish. And you need those, as much as people bitch about like Eurasian water milfoil, it creates those big mats that it creates. Is perfect habitat for raising small fish.
Perfect, yeah.
And it's perfect habitat for predators to sit there and hide and eat. And it's like
and perfect habitat.
Well, you take all that out. And it's
exactly. What are they gonna do? Yeah.
You lose all that breeding potential, or at least not necessarily the breeding. They're still gonna spawn, but once the fry hatch out, they got nowhere to hide.
They got nowhere to hide.
They're just out there in the open.
Yeah, they're getting sucked up. And the big fish that they have in there, which a lot of guys fish for, which I don't really catch them on accident, is the striper. The big striped bass.
And big cats.
Yeah, and they'll eat a ton of regular, just the bass fries.
Yeah.
They just gorge on them. They run the shad, and they go up in the shallows and eat all the fries. And there's nothing the big bass can do about it because those stripers get huge. They're just massive.
They get big.
A friend of mine caught one.
Same with them blues. Blue cats get huge.
Yeah.
You think they're not eating all sorts of
exactly. A friend of mine caught one in one of our club tournaments a couple months ago, and it was like probably 25 pounds. It was massive.
Yeah, they get big.
He caught it he fought it for like 30 minutes. At least. It's huge. But like I said, you kind of catch them after that. You can't weigh those. It's large amount of smallmouth and spots.
I hooked a good dogfish today.
Yeah, that was fun.
It's on for a little bit.
Yeah,
had him
just
it's
for a
so
second.
hard to get a good hook set on them things because they're just got their heads are made of stone.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way years ago. What river were we fishing? I forget.
I think we're up by Winnicott. I think it was Ball Club Lake or Little Boy Lake or something like that. And we caught a little dogfish, 3-4 pounder or something, and you'd never like, it's weird, I've never seen one of those. Like, they're like prehistoric, dude. Their heads are like hard as rock. And you're like, what? And like you reached over and you just thumped them right on top of the head, like hard.
Yeah,
and then you're
I wasn't playing.
I'm like, dude, I literally just told you that their head's like a rock. You're like, why did I think I'm thinking hard, but I didn't think it'd be hard. I'm like, well,
that thing hurt. It's like a sheep head, but their heads are huge.
Dude, their heads are made of stone. It's like a giant exoskeleton with a little bit of skin over top.
It's like prehistoric kind of.
They are. They're an ancient fish.
Yeah,
for sure. They can gulp air.
Yeah.
We're yawning so much. It's so. Oh, dude, it was a grind today. We've been up for forever.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, and the wind was tough.
Tough. we were fighting wind.
It was tough, but
dude, I don't know. Dogfish are cool. I think they're cool. Then we had that one. I thought the dogfish was going after a pike.
Yeah,
I hooked this little pike. And then that was a big dogfish, dude. That was like 6, 7, 8 pounds. And he was coming up, and I thought, is he trying to eat this pike? And then so I kind of gave the pike some slack. And no, he was like keyed in on that jig. Yeah. He wanted to steal the food out of that pike's mouth. Is what he was trying to do.
He's like, "What do you got there?"
Yeah, I'm taking that. Yeah. he didn't.
If that had been like a big swim bait, he might have, because he thought it would have been.
I was kind of hoping that pike would shake it quick, and then he would just dip in and eat it. Just
out of reaction. Yeah. Are they very reactionary? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they'll hit it anyway.
Well, you see that one that I almost hooked. Like he was on a bed, and I dropped in there. I kind of hooked him once, and it got off, and he went right back to his bed.
Yeah.
I pitched it right back in there, jiggling his face. Oh, he whammed. He just
hit it again,
smashed it again.
Yeah, you had that one on for just
he was just protecting his
jumped and come right off. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I had him hooked.
It's kind of hard to put a hook through a rock.
Dude, it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough.
It's kind of hard to
It's weird. I've had a lot of run-ins with dogfish this year, and that's not been the case in times past. But they fight pretty good. They're sporty fish. They don't taste very good, I guess. I haven't tried to eat one, but Steve Ranella, he did, and he said it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
So and Steve Ranella will eat just about anything. Yeah. So if he does it, I'm taking
his word for it.
Yeah. If he's
I'll let him decide.
If he's like, there's not much more, he's like, I'll probably never keep another dogfish. I'm like, yeah,
I probably won't
I'm
either.
going to take his word for that.
Yeah.
But gar are good, though. Gar are really
they
good.
really?
Yeah.
They do have those down there, like Lake Norman, which is the top river, and they have huge gars. And they're school up. You'll see like 8 of them, and they're like super long. And,
I've never caught one on hook and line. I've shot some with the bow.
They have little tiny mouths, don't they?
Yeah. They don't really use hooks, so they'll use like a hook for the live bait. And what they'll do is they'll put like yarn up above the hook.
Yeah.
So they swallow it.
Yeah.
And then the yarn gets tangled up in their teeth.
Huh.
And that's how you catch them. Because they have a really bony mouth, too. There's not much flesh there to set a hook into.
Huh.
So it's,
That's crazy.
Needs a little bit of yarn
to catch them by
it snags
yarn?
them in there. The teeth get tangled up in there, and they can't get out.
Do you steel leaders?
I'm not sure.
It must.
Probably braid or something, maybe.
I mean, how would they not cut the line if it's in their teeth?
Probably, or a thick model. I mean, they have sharp teeth, but it's not like
pike
teeth. They don't have like rows and rows and rows of them like pike do. And they
teeth.
don't have those. Like pike, if you look at the back of their mouth, like on the edge, like where it hinges or whatever, their teeth are really jagged and they like overlap, just like a fabric shears, serrated fabric shears. And that's, I mean, those times where you set up, when you're pitching a jig or whatever, and you get hit, and you feel a tap, and you set the hook, and it's like there's nothing there.
Nothing there.
Like you don't even feel any weight for a split second. It's just like
nothing.
A scuba diver's down there with the scissors.
Yeah.
And that's what they're getting it back in those teeth, and they literally they're just cutting it. Like shoop, it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of pike cut people. That's for sure. I mean, you're trying to get it out. Big daredevil. I remember North Dakota growing up, and this guy would catch a big old pike, probably 30 inches or something, or 36 inches, and he's trying to get the daredevil out because we always used huge spoons, black and white and red and white daredevil. You couldn't go wrong with that. And the thing turned on him, and I remember just sliced his hand. I remember just blood just pouring. I mean, just like that, dude. Just.
But you guys use smelt on the bottom, didn't you?
Oh man, that was
them goofy big L-shaped smell hooks.
Yes. And I still have one somewhere, I think. I don't know. I wish I could find it.
Just casting things out, let them sit on the bottom.
It had a point on the end. It had like a diamond point on the end, and it had a hole in the middle.
It's like
and then
two
it was
sides of a triangle.
It was like 4 or 5 inches long, and then it just had 2 hooks, like kind of like a frog hook now, kind of. But it's just really small, really narrow, maybe a half an inch apart.
Smell, they get really mushy.
Yeah, they get nasty and oily. Yeah, all the oil, you could see the trail, and you just throw it out there and let it sit there. That was it. And in the meantime, you might throw a bobber out or something.
Yeah, a lot of pike don't realize that, or a lot of people don't realize that pike are they're very scavengerish.
Oh yeah,
especially in there when the bigger they get. Like, they don't want to expend a lot of money or
a lot of energy,
time to eat. I'm so tired.
It's been a long weekend for sure. Yeah. That's how we caught them all the time. Growing up in North Dakota, we would just go out there and fish smelt to the bottom and throw a little bobber and worm out and catch big jumbo perch like left and right. I mean, huge. 11, 12, 13-inch. Jumbos like on a regular basis.
I got bit by northern when we were in Canada too.
Oh yeah, that's gonna hurt.
We're like filming, you're doing your little instructional thing or whatever, and I'm trying to put this stupid northern on the stringer, and I'm getting them it's like those metal giant swivel clamp kind of string or whatever. Yeah. I got that thing, and I'm trying to poke it in there and whatever, and all of a sudden it just he just twitched and shut his mouth there quick, but I got those the catcher teeth right on the tip of his jaw. Dude, just lacerated my thumb. I'm like, oh. You're like, what? I'm like, he bit me. Oh yeah, that'll hurt. Then you went right back, back into your story.
I just kept on going. Whatever we were talking about. I don't even remember what it was. I have to go back and watch the tape, the instant replay.
The other thing is all right, do something funny. I'm like, I don't know, whatever. Then next, same with the stringer. And I didn't tie it into the oar lock or whatever. I'm like, what's going on? So dumb.
I don't know.
God, we were dumb.
We were
I
dumb.
think to think that
We were dumb.
the funniest thing we did, I think, was when we were video. What do you call it? Whatever. We're videoing it and vlogging it, and we're coming in, and it's like the clouds got super dark, like wind kicked up again, and all of a sudden we're like, dude, we're out of gas.
We're out of gas.
We're almost out of gas.
Yeah.
And
We're out of
then
gas.
so we make it back.
First
we,
night.
we
Was
make
it the
it
first
back.
night we were there?
Yeah.
Or
I don't remember, but we make it back
It was
to the
early
resort.
on. It was early on.
And yeah, we're like shaking the gas can, getting every last drop of it. We get back we make it back to the camp, and then you're telling the story.
No,
like we
weren't even there yet.
Yeah, no, we made it back because this was after the fact.
Oh,
I had
okay.
the camera on you.
Yeah.
And you were giving the recap.
Yeah. In the little
Yeah,
cabin.
you were
in
giving the recap.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're telling the
Recap.
story. You're
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're out there. We're like, out of gas. We're like, man, we better go back now, or we're gonna be stranded out here. So we're going back, and there's like, then we're shaking the can, and like we're out, like we
It's
can see
all
the resort.
dramatic.
It's like, you were like super dramatic. It's in the like we could see the resort. It's like right there. We're like, and the motor's sputtering. And like we're shaking the gas can, trying to get every last drop of can on. The sky's getting dark, and man, and it's just sprinkling. Sprinkling. It was sprinkling.
It was sprinkling.
Like
It was sprinkling.
Like you wanted to say it was downpouring so bad, but it
you wanted to
wasn't.
say it was just like a
sprinkling.
washout.
It was just
And
sprinkling.
it was just barely
like,
sprinkling.
And monster, and this lightning everywhere, and this monster, like, and man, it was just sprinkling.
It was just sprinkling. and then
The best that we get to shore. We made it. We're safe, and we're tying up the boat, and I like moved the life jacket. I'm like, what's that? Oh, it's a gas can. Filled with gas.
There's gas, extra gas can. That's the one thing that camp did right. They put an extra gas can in there, and we didn't even know it. And we're like sweating, and and I remember
We literally
Dale.
thought we were gonna be stranded out there.
And I remember Dale like making a big deal about this thunderstorm because they don't happen in Canada apparently. I'm not all that familiar with them, but they don't get them all that much apparently. So he was like, these things don't really happen all that much, and blah blah blah. And we're like,
go.
man, how are we gonna? We're not gonna make it back. We're running out of gas, and it's just sprinkling.
Just sprinkling.
And then, what's this? God. Oh, here's a gas can right here. Oh, look at that. What is that for?
So dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, God, weird dumb.
I don't know. Like we were talking yesterday with our friend Christian who lost his mom, and we were talking about a lot of stuff that we used to do as kids. And I'm like, how did we ever survive? Like, how are we not dead? I mean, I don't know. Dude. We challenge death every day. I mean, it's just like every day.
Yeah.
We just did. Like, let's try this. So right now, so I have my kids, they're like teenagers and pre-teenagers and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, if they tried to do the stuff that we did, I'd be like, no, you're not. No, you're not going to die on me. No, I love you too much. You are not going to die today by doing.
Like parents couldn't check up with it. There was no cell phones.
Nothing.
Once you left the house,
you
free range, dude.
Gone.
Do whatever you want.
Gone.
There was no parental guidance.
It's just like we did
Darwinism, bro.
And how did we even come up with the stuff that we did? I'm like, hey, this sounds like fun. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Like, really?
Those old wooden spools. Like cable spools, like cable company spools or phone company, the big spools.
Like huge. Like
the big ones. We
the
got those.
5-inch, like 5 foot around.
And so we'd stand like a circus bear and roll on those things and like joust
with
each
huge,
other.
like with some kind of wooden sticks or big like hockey sticks or something. Yeah. And just like hitting each other and hitting the sticks.
Literally trying to knock each
like
other off.
Like a circus bear.
Yeah.
Right. Like we were rolling on those spools.
Like trying to knock each other off these giant, heavy wooden spools.
And those spools were probably like, 300-400 pounds. All wooden.
We just killed ourselves.
Fiber optic stuff. Jumping cars, riding mini bikes, catching them on fire and stuff.
So dumb.
I always tore up Christian.
You didn't get seasick today.
I didn't get seasick.
We weren't
and
out
it was
that
almost
much, though, but it was
on the
almost
sea.
as bad as the ocean.
But I didn't feel it at all.
These were like, dude, these were waves, dude. These were waves, and there was like legit swells out there today.
Yeah, they were. That was
because the wind started to die down a little bit, but the damage had been done. Like the waves had been created, and that's like there were legit swells.
They were already rolling.
And so there wasn't much for like actual white caps, like wind caps, but there were some. But dude, it was just the size of the waves were
3-4 feet.
They're big.
3 or 4 feet.
They're big.
People that have never been to Mille Lacs, they have no idea.
No.
I mean, that place is massive.
Yeah.
It's like the ocean. It's a Great Lake. Is it bigger than the Great Lakes?
No.
Any of the Great Lakes?
No.
Not even one of them?
Not even close, dude. No.
Really?
Not even
They're
huge.
that
No,
much bigger?
No. Yeah.
Are they twice the size? 3
They're
times?
huge. I bet. Yeah. Do I?
Twice?
Superior's got to be 5,
Well,
6
Superior is
times
the biggest
size.
one, isn't it?
But I bet, yeah. But I bet Michigan is still
Erie?
4
Erie's
times
smaller,
big, if
yeah.
not more. I bet it's immeasurably more.
Is
Dude, the
that
Great
much
Lakes are
bigger?
called the Great Lakes for a reason.
Yeah, that's true.
I
Well,
mean,
that's pretty big.
Mille Lacs is big, but
That's
like
big.
it's not as big as Lake of the Woods.
Oh, that's true. But that's more.
Upper and Red, if you combine them.
But Lake of the Woods, isn't that more tributaries, little arms that kind of go out and stuff like that? It's
No.
just one huge, massive
giant
lake.
blob, dude.
We've never fished it, did we?
No,
Well, we've
I
wanted to go
have.
there,
I've
yeah.
fished it a
On the
couple
Minnesota
times.
side?
I've never open water fished it.
Yeah.
I've always Minnesota side.
Yeah.
No, we've never. No, we've never up there.
We always talked about that. I was always like, we got to go to Lake of the Woods.
Well, it's fun to ice fish it.
Trophy fish.
I wouldn't go
Every
or
cast.
Spring.
It'd just be like going to Canada. Every cast. Trophy
Spring,
fish.
I think for giant pike would be fun.
Yeah.
We could always go up to Rainy for that too and go fish with
Rainy,
Captain
another
Donnie.
one. Yeah, absolutely.
But then I have to drive right past Pelican and I have a hard time doing that.
Yeah, it's hard to pass Pelican. It is hard to pass Pelican, without a doubt.
Yeah.
That place is just a hidden gem.
It's magical.
It is.
I'm telling everybody, people are getting mad at me for it, but it's
So what?
It's awesome, dude.
I mean,
They need your business. If you're a
why
bass
keep it to
fisherman, go
yourself?
up there.
Yeah.
Go do it. It's
or Minnesota.
man, that lake is awesome.
Pelican Lake. It's
Lake is
amazing.
So awesome.
It's amazing. Trophy fish.
Time is we need to get. You
Trophy
gotta get
pike.
up early.
Trophy
It's
pike.
1:45 to
Yeah.
midnight. How long
Yeah.
you been? We made it over an hour.
Yeah.
It was a quickie.
Yeah.
We can wrap. What else can we talk about?
What else
Rick?
can we talk about?
What other stupid stuff do we do? I remember that time you and your brothers came up when I lived in Pine City and we fished the snake and you guys almost drowned trying to walk on the rocks.
Yeah, that was.
And I almost drowned because I was laughing so hard at you. That's a skill.
That's
Walking,
a skill.
wading.
Yeah.
Wading
in a river.
rocky river
Yeah.
with current
That's
is a
skill.
skill for sure. Cause
You know, when I lived in Denver, when I lived in Colorado, I
Aaron
used to
was
do.
getting so mad.
Well, Aaron didn't fish much anyways, and so like I don't even know why he would have wanted to go and walk this river because it's not easy. It's not like just hey, let's just go fishing. And he always complained about fishing anyway. I mean, like everything he
He
complained
got so
about.
mad.
Yeah,
He was like,
got so
every
mad.
time he tried, he just slapping the water with his pole. He was just so mad. I literally, tears, my stomach hurt.
But was that the Jimmy Rock?
No,
that was just you and me.
That was on the kettle.
Yeah, that was the kettle. Yeah, that's right. When I lived in Denver, I used to do a lot of wading and stuff, but I was like fly fishing up in the mountains. But I actually bought the shoes with the felt.
The
and
felt
stuff
really,
like
that really helps.
That makes a huge difference. Because we just wore tennis shoes.
Yeah.
No, we had
just-
waders. I think
No,
we might have.
no.
We had waders
just
when we were
walked-
in the
we just
kettle
waded right
because
in.
I remember water got
Yeah.
in them. But we would just
Yeah, by then, but in
yeah.
the snake, we just
we
went
did
in
the
our
snake.
jeans.
We just walked in
tennis
jeans
shoes
and tennis
sneaks.
shoes. Yeah.
But no, the Jimmy Rock was a funny story too.
Oh my goodness.
It was like
I was
slow.
dead. I mean, I was like getting swept down river and Dale's laughing. I don't know. How are we alive, dude? I mean, literally.
Because
how
it
are we
happened in
alive?
slow motion.
It was.
So
Yeah.
he went to go step over this big rock, and just the way the rock was shaped, it was like sloped on the backside,
Yeah,
like the
I
downriver
couldn't get over
side.
it.
So he put his foot down. Like once he had committed to putting his weight on that
on
foot,
yeah.
it was all moss covered, and it's like started to slip, and he's like basically doing the splits, and he went down so far, then like down
The river
like, to
caught
his
me.
lower chest,
Yeah.
and then the current started like caught your
Yeah.
chest, and you were just like, whoa, you're trying to get your feet, and then it's just
I had
pushing
no
you down.
footing
You're like,
because that rock was huge.
your hands out there. Just
And this was
Flashes.
literally as we walked in. I mean, like, so we used to drive up to the kettle and we'd park a half
at
a
the
mile
rest
or
at
a
the
mile
wayside rest.
away.
It's like quarter mile.
Yeah, and we'd have to walk with all our
Down the
gear
shoulder.
down the shoulder in our waders and everything else. We'd walk down it,
God.
and we had barely gotten in, and here I'd almost drowned.
It didn't
And
almost.
Dale just left. I went under. I got water all in my waders and everything. And so the rest of the fishing trip, I was just like, "But we caught fish, smallmouth.
I always
we
caught
good
fish and walleye. We
smallmouth.
always catch walleyes on
Yeah,
that bridge, dude.
Pike, of course. Pike.
Oh,
we always
pike.
caught
Well,
pike like crazy.
we did catch
I
pike
caught
there, but
some.
they weren't too. They
I
weren't
caught some.
like super.
I think that's
prolific
that's
there.
the time that we went to the other side, and it was
Yeah.
terrible. We looked,
Yeah,
let's
we
go try
just
that.
died trying to get to
We
because
tr-
the
yeah.
grass is always green on the other side.
Yeah.
So we We had to go way downstream to finally
Yeah.
find a spot shallow enough to cross. Finally
over,
cross, get back up there. Like this side
This
sucks.
is terrible. Yeah. And we almost died getting over there. It took us forever
Yeah, it took
to
forever,
walk to the
yeah.
other side.
It's like, we could
What
have
a
just
waste of
walked
time.
across the freeway bridge.
Yeah. Yeah. Why didn't we think of that? Hey, let's just walk out, go across the other side, and fish it. Yeah.
No,
Maybe there was no way in. I think there was no way in.
Because we were dumb.
There was
Yeah,
no.
there is.
There was no trails. Or
There was.
something.
We just walked through the grass. Of course, there was a way. Trying to make stupid excuses. We were
your
dumb.
stupid excuses. We were dumb.
We were just dumb.
We were dumb.
But
Yeah.
I haven't fished that section in so many years. I should do it again. Now the water level's so high, it'd be ridiculous.
You wouldn't really walk it.
No,
would you really
you
walk
have to walk like the shoreline.
Yeah. We would just
Hopefully-
walk in. Just come on. let's
Hopefully
go.
the water level drops down. I haven't even waded fishing in forever.
Yeah.
Did I trout fish last year? I don't know if I did one time. I might not have. I might actually.
I don't even have a set of.
I
waders
didn't.
anymore.
I didn't fish trout last year, not one
Yeah.
time. So hopefully I get a chance to do it this
Yeah,
year.
there are little, in Carolina, there are some good trout streams and stuff. And there's
Yeah,
actually
no,
some
the
of them have
mountains
some
and the
smallmouth.
Appalachians,
Some of
you-
them
yeah,
mountains and
they do.
Appalachians. I need to probably get into that a little bit more. But it's it's a little bit of a drive up there, and then there's a lot of public land, and you get to run into a lot of different. And there's a lot of regulations. I mean, just like single hook, delayed harvest, this and that. And so you
Yeah.
really have to do a lot of research. Which I mean,
If
it's
they
not
give
much,
you a book,
but
just a little
you
bit
have
of
to just
reading,
read
and then
it,
you got
yeah.
a supercomputer in your pocket that'll probably tell
Yeah,
you all the
exactly,
rules
tell
too.
you.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
trout
but
are fun. I really enjoy catching
it's
trout.
hard for
I don't
me
even
to get
mind catching
excited
little ones.
about trout because they're just so small. I mean,
Yeah.
they're relative. You're like, oh, that's a huge trout, but it's like 20 couple inches. It's like,
20-inch trout's pretty good trout.
yeah, but I mean, but it's still just like a 20-inch
Yeah.
fish.
Oh, 20-inch bass gets you excited?
Well, that's true.
That's 4 pounds,
Yeah, but a 20-inch trout's not 4
5 pounds, 4 or 5
Is it,
pounds,
you
depending on
think?
the season.
Yeah.
It might be. They're
Maybe.
not built the same. They're a little skinny,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, dude, I'll
I
go
mean,
up
most
to
of the ones I catch are,
I'll go up to the North Shore
6
and
and
I'll
8 and
catch
10.
8-inch,
Yeah.
10-inch when I'm having a
Trout.
ball.
Yeah, see,
I mean,
it's
I
just
just
hard for me to
I
get
like
excited
the
about that.
I like the journey and the scenery and
Yeah, that's true.
the
It's
fish
about the
themselves are
trout, yeah.
pretty. I mean,
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
they're
a
beautiful.
different experience. It's not.
They're oily though.
You just can't equate. I love the taste of them.
I don't
But
care for
you
them all
just
that much,
can't-
it seems like.
You
but-
just can't equate them to bass or walleye. They're just totally different. It's a totally different
Yeah.
experience. And
You have to kind of just take it for what it is. Yeah, they're just different. Yeah. it's just
I
a
like it. I
different
have fun.
species
I have
of
fun doing it. But I like to catch everything, whatever, except for walleyes.
it. Except for walleye, which you caught 2
I
nice
know.
ones today, or three.
Three.
Two.
Got 3 today.
Three, yeah.
2 on the drop shot and 1 on the
Wow,
Ned.
the Ned. That's right.
The old Ned red.
Yeah, because you caught the smallie on the Ned, and then we thought the second one was going to be a smallie too. And there's another walleye, and that smallie was blind in one eye. That's
Yeah,
why-
he
that's
was.
probably why I
Yeah,
missed.
his eye was
It just felt it.
scarred up, so he must have been caught before.
Yeah, didn't see it, just felt it.
Yeah, he didn't see that coming.
No. What else? I
He's
guess
just
that's.
old one eye
Yeah.
there.
I mean, we go back a long way. Like I said,
Yeah, we got
go-
way more stories than that for sure.
Yeah.
But we're both tired. Now my brain's like shutting down.
Yeah, we're pretty well. We've done a lot of stupid stuff, but we have a lot of fun. We've caught a lot of fish.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of fish.
Lots of fish. And we're constantly learning. I mean,
Yeah, that's the thing is, and I think that today to bring up like the bass fishing, which is of course something that we're both really kind of more into now. It seems like as we're getting older, it's such a great big sport fishing. There's such a huge market for it across the world, and the
did you see mouse?
yeah.
Oh.
And he went underneath that chest right there. There's a mouse in the basement.
Oh, yeah.
In the studio. Sorry, in the studio.
In the studio.
And
got a trap over there, but it ain't
but
there.
this elite series and the MLFs and all this kind of stuff, I just don't understand the bitterness of there seems like so many people are so angry
Yeah.
at all these MLF guys for leaving. But from what I can gather from and I've paid attention to a lot of this stuff, all the big names that went. Obviously there's a reason there that
Yeah,
they wanted
money.
to
They
go.
went for a
And what
guaranteed
they
paycheck.
talked about, well, that's part of it, but they also have a voice, which from what I understand was not the voice. I actually met Andy Montgomery. He's a Bass Pro, that's one of his sponsors. And so down there in North Carolina, there's a huge Bass Pro shop, right outside of Charlotte, and they have a pond down there, and they have like a youth or like a high school fishing thing, and you can just go down there and bring your high school. A lot of them, that was probably maybe 15 kids that showed up. But a big part of them were like bass fishing clubs, high school clubs. But I took my oldest son down there, and we went down there, and Andy Montgomery showed up because he is one of the major. There were some other FLW guys that I didn't, know too much, but I talked to him about it. I actually asked him, if you could do one or the other, what would you do? And he's like, MLF, absolutely, because he says they care. It seems like more. They actually have a voice because it's Boyd Duckett and Gary Klein that started this, and so they're actually fishermen that said this is what we want to do as fishermen. And from what I can gather on the Elite Series up until this point, and maybe so now, but I think they're starting to change because they realize that all these people left. Was that there was people that are living out of their trucks trying to fish the Elite Series because they couldn't barely afford to get into the tournaments, and then they end up coming in, they don't even make a check, and they're going from event to event and paying all this money. They got no place to live.
It'd almost be like if the NFL was like, you could play in the NFL if you paid to be on the team. Yeah. And then, and if you win, then you get paid.
Then you get paid.
But it's only the big names like Tom Brady, and the superstars that are getting enough money to make it worth their while, and everybody else is just struggling to just be a part of it.
I'm guessing, I don't know all the ins and outs of the MLF, but I'm guessing it must have cost them a bunch to join the club or something like that because there is no entry fees. Yeah. But I'm guessing they had to come up with the money somehow. But I know through the selects and through the champion, through the Cup Series, that's what Andy was telling me, is that they're self-sufficient now because of all the merchandise, because of all the advertising and stuff like that. Right. And so maybe it doesn't cost them that much, but they can make $100,000 a tournament for the big bass tour or for the whatever it's called, the
I like it.
Professional bass tour.
I mean, I like them both. I like the Big Five style, and I like the every fish count style. It's just different, and I like the strategy that comes into MLF, and it obviously depends on the lake, but it's like, do you want to catch 21 pounders for 20 pounds or 5 5s? I think that's it's like, it's up to you. It's like, what does this lake have? What's my best bet? What's my best chance of getting the most cumulative weight? And like, there's strategy involved there, and you just,
well, I know that was always the stigma. It's like, well, MLF, the
middle
major,
league
there's all these little fish. But like the first two tournaments, they were catching huge, double-digit fish. Of course, they're fishing like, Gunnersville and
but whatever.
But still, the Elite Series, when they go to some of these fishermen, they're turning in 12 and 15 pounds because that's
and what were you saying earlier today? Like, I liked the early on when they didn't know what lake they were going to and they had to figure it out. You said
the Bass Pro Tour is different. They can fish their own. They fish their own boats. They got all their own sponsors and stuff like that. So the selects and the Challenger Cups and all that kind of stuff. They fish those Nitros or they fish the Bass Cat, Panteras, and then they don't tell them. And they always do that anywhere as possible, all this kind of stuff. And they keep them in a region. They were actually in North Carolina last fall, and I went and watched them. And they're now airing on like the weekends, and it's the High Rock or the Urari River system, which is a different system than the one that I kind of live on, but they're right there close. But it was cool to watch those guys fish and see how they actually, because I've always thought, man, I'd like to see a pro come and see how they would fish my home waters, and I actually got a chance to kind of see some of that. But the selects, from what I understand, and the Challenge Cups, they're different than the Bass Pro Tour. The Bass Pro Tour, they keep their own boats, they have their own sponsors, stuff like that, and then they get to practice, and then they split it up in different days, and that it's kind of confusing. You got 40 one day and 40 the next, and then they fish again, and then they keep cumulative weight, and then the top 20, and then the top 10, and all that kind of stuff. But so it's just a different format because this is an actual tour instead of just these weekend or the week tournaments where they would do the selects, and then they just narrowed it down each day, and then by the end they had however many guys fishing for the championship, and they won a big old huge trophy. I'm sure they probably gave them some money too, but for the tour, it's actually, they're like a club. It's like the MLF club is what it is. It's just like any other club tournament. You have regular season stops and whatever. So, but they do so much. They're always out in the community. They're always like. Group A fishes like on a Tuesday, and Group B fishes on Wednesday. And so on Tuesday when Group A is fishing, Group B is at the Dairy Queen or something, and they're hanging out, or they're going to Bass Pro Shop, and they're doing this. And then the next day, the next group is going out, and they're interacting with people and stuff like that. So I just don't understand the anger.
People are just their team mentality. Most people don't like change in general. And then you got this big drastic change, and they feel like they stole some of their favorite fishermen, but they made the choice to go to the MLF. And they just, I'm team BASS. I'm not team MLF. I mean, people are just so tribal.
Yeah.
I mean, I like them all.
I like them all, too. I mean, it's hard to kind of watch the Elite Series now because I don't know a lot of those guys. I mean, there's some guys that are local kind of North Carolina sticks that have made the Elite Series now, and it gives them an opportunity, if nothing else, it gives a lot of these young guys or guys that aren't, that maybe were on the Elite Series, but they were always in the 100th place, and it gives you an opportunity to fish now. So you would think that everybody should be excited about it because, well, the big names are gone, and so now I get a chance to make some money and do some stuff.
Go make a name for yourself.
But, I mean, it's a little bit tough because, you want to see the Greg Hackneys and the Kevin Van Dams and the Iconellis and Greg, the Swindles and stuff like that.
I like MLF and I like the sporting, it's more like a real sport.
Yeah.
I mean, with the announcers and the live casting and the live scoring, you get excited about it. Yeah. It's, you see it winding down. And
well,
you see the pressure in real time.
Nobody can argue the conservation side of it is way better. It's way better for the fish. You're not putting them in. Yeah, you're
alive well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I know they do a great job at that and releasing the fish alive, but you're still displacing them. When you're going to some of these lakes, when the Elite Series and the BASS, they're going to some of these lakes during the spawn, they're pulling those fish off the beds. Yeah. And they're just completely jacking them up. And as many fish as they catch, and they're throwing a live well, and they may put them in the live well and then go somewhere else, and then they call them, and then they throw them out over here. Yeah. When they were spawning, 10 miles away. Yeah. So, to me, I was just like, that doesn't make sense to me at all. But anyways, I think that the sport is in good shape. I think that, there's a lot of people coming to it still, and I know some of the numbers are down from what I've read and this and that, from what I've heard, but
it'll change. I think it's gonna go fluctuate up.
But you get to watch a lot of fishing. I mean, everybody, the average fisherman, you and me, Joe Blow, we're way better because we can watch the MLF, we can watch this guys, we can watch the FLF. I mean, everybody, they got all this media that shows it.
You see the MLF guys fishing. You can see what they're throwing.
You see exactly what they're doing. Yeah.
The other style where it's just the weigh-in, the big five. Yeah. What'd you catch one day? Oh, I caught him on a whatever. You don't know if they really did or not.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's no proof of that.
Yeah.
They can just be.
Now, of course, the weigh-ins are probably more cool for the fans because obviously the MLF doesn't have that, and that's kind of like they still have people come across.
That's why they couldn't set up and sell tickets to watching parties and stuff like that, where you have a big tent, people hang out, and just have a live feed going on all the time.
I wonder if they might do that at those events. I don't know, because they sound like they have these huge, they have food trucks and stuff like that. I think everybody loves a food truck. So, but
that's crazy. All right, dude, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
I'm falling asleep over here. So, all right. Well, Jimmy, it's awesome. Always awesome when you come up here, and hopefully
it's always a good time.
We'll see how your life transpires. You might move to Michigan if things work out in a year. You're a little bit closer to Minnesota then, and I would love to get your kids up there in Pelican Lake. And
I would too. Yeah,
teach them how to.
That would definitely be something that we would look
A
forward to.
real lake full of fish.
And hopefully, we can do this again sometime. And
we'll do it. I don't. When I travel, I bring this podcast equipment with me. Yeah. So if I ever make it down there, when I see my brother in South Carolina, you come down.
Yeah.
Take your seasickness pills,
or whatever.
Go catch a shark, and then we'll do a podcast on it.
Exactly.
All right. Later.
See ya.